Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Here with my pupper, Alfalfa. I'm actually on my way to Anthony's house. I'm gonna help him shoot some photos. He doesn't know this yet. I figured I'd just take my camera with me and ask him a few questions about his initial thoughts and feelings on being a new grad ICU nurse. He's a cutie. Alright, so I'm headed there now, and let's see his reaction when I tell him I'm planning on asking him 101 questions.
Oh, no, I know that. Go outside?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ant thinks he lost his glasses, but of course I am the best and I found them.
What?
You look anywhere?
I looked everywhere. Why?
Everywhere. It's the first place I looked.
In my backpack?
Guess what?
What? We're vlogging?
No, no. I'm asking you a bunch of questions.
You're gonna put me on the spot like that, huh? Okay.
About being a new grad ICU nurse.
Give up now.
No. You gotta be encouraging. I'm gonna ask you the question. You don't have to say nothing, alright? Alright, I have my first question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how prepared did nursing school make you for actually being a nurse?
A nurse in general or an ICU nurse?
We'll do a regular nurse and then an ICU nurse.
A nurse? I mean, as adequately as I believe, you know, standardized education can get you. Tests like that, like I think that my school prepared me well.
1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being
Like a
very
solid
prepared.
6.5.
Okay. What about ICU nurse?
Negatives on the scale?
Really negative though?
Like
Zero?
zero. I mean, like the basics, like knowing like medication
Vital
interactions
signs.
and vital signs and like, you know, basic understandings of sepsis and like multi-organ failure and those kind of things, yeah.
But not to the point where you're confident. So put it on that scale. So as opposed to the...
Small story, and you can't tell anyone this?
What are you saying?
I didn't know the difference between an A line and a central line when I first started. So, if that means anything.
So then, what do you rank it as?
How well prepared was I?
Yes.
1.
One.
So I have to give it a number 1. I walked in there, I felt like lost.
Lost in the sauce. Alright, next question.
Okay.
From when you started, your first day on orientation, how long did it take from that day to feel comfortable being by yourself and confident in your skills and like I'm a good nurse?
I don't think I'm there yet.
Oh my god, this is horrible. If someone wants to be an ICU nurse and then they look at this and then they're like, oh god, maybe I should change their mind.
No, you shouldn't change your mind. I've learned so much. Yes, I am comfortable taking on my own 2 patients and handling the situation and identifying problems and doing what a good nurse has to do. But I still feel like I heavily rely on like some of the senior nurses at our job quite a bit. I mean, which isn't a bad thing, you know. I think when you start feeling too comfortable is when issues start to arise because no one knows everything.
So, okay, it's teamwork. You just like having teamwork. And it's always good to bounce ideas off of another person.
Yeah, I'm far more comfortable than I was when I first started, that's for sure. And I feel like I've learned a lot and a million times better than what I was. But at the same time, every shift, I'm like, oh, I did shit, I didn't know that. Oh,
I mean, I
know
also
that.
think that's a good
All
thing
right,
because
cool.
you shouldn't always feel comfortable because that's when you start making mistakes. You always got to be on your A game.
I'm confident, but it by no means of the word cocky when it comes to this stuff.
Now, what is your best advice to someone that is first starting off on their own? So they went through the orientation process, now their first day by themselves. What is your best advice?
Quit?
I'm kidding. I'm done asking you this question.
I'm just kidding. I mean, it's kind of typical, but I feel like I always ask questions.
That was what
Like,
I was thinking.
I rather,
was thinking the
yeah,
same thing.
I rather you ask me the most basic question in the world, maybe you don't know, and you not kill somebody. You not make a crucial error because you're nervous to ask me. I'll always answer a question. Although, you know, if it's ridiculous, I may give a little bit of attitude, but that just comes with the territory.
Oh my God. Yeah. Asking questions is good because it shows that you're thinking, critically thinking and being cautious because, like I said, if you're just going about doing whatever you want to do and flying under the radar, it's a little suspicious because you shouldn't feel that comfortable on the first day.
And whenever there's a new nurse on the unit, they're not asking questions, I'm kind of concerned.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you know all this, especially if you're fresh out of school.
Starbucks break.
I think I might have zoned out on one of those questions.
Oh, God.
I might have just looking off in the distance with my mouth open.
Oh, I need this too. Okay, I got another one. What did you do when you first started to help you stay organized and manage your time properly in order to perform every task that you had to do in a timely manner?
I had to like really practice eliminating all forms of procrastination. Like those moments where you just like lay in bed and 5 more minutes, like nah, gotta get rid of that. Sleep management, I believe, is also hugely important, which you like talked about.
Well, that's night shift, yeah.
Yeah, well, that is true. That only really applies to night shift. But for, you know, most nurses starting, they do usually start on night shift. And, you know, I think you referenced it in your other video that managing your sleep is like super important. When you work nights, you work into your day off. So if I work Sunday night and I'm off Monday, I'm working into Monday. So going home, figuring out what works best for you. Am I going to reset my sleep cycle and start working, sleep a few hours and then go to bed again that night? Or am I just going to stick to pure nights and be entirely nocturnal? Either way, whatever works best for you, I think that developing that is good. Yeah. Just going home and sleeping your entire day off, and then if you're back to work the next day, like you can't accomplish any of the things you need to do for like real life outside of the job.
That's a good answer, but what I'm saying is at work, how did you organize? Because you get report and it's like, I gotta take labs this time, finger stick this time, feeds at this time, meds at this time, change my drip. Like, how did you manage and organize yourself? What did you do to make sure you get everything done in a timely manner and a safe manner at that? Because if you don't give medication at a certain time, or if a drip runs out and the patient blood pressure drops, stuff like that, how do you stay organized and on top of your tasks?
So, I mean, with report, you're always going to have their past medical history written down. You're going to know their IV sites and stuff. I don't waste my time writing those things down because I can see it, or I can check on the computer and I'll have it right there. I usually just write to-do lists of everything I have to do that shift. Starting off with like the first things I have to do, and then the last things that I have to do. Just try to like synchronize them by time order. I mean, perform them chronologically. And then by the end of the shift, I can always check to see if there's anything I missed because I always have it written down on my to-do list.
That's a perfect thing. To-do list for your shift. Like when everything is due for each patient, and then cross it off as you go. That's what I would.
I'll write meds, and then I'll put 10, 12, 6. And those are the times that the meds are due, and I'll check off each one. Labs, same thing. If there's anything I need to change, anything that's done. I notice it when I'm in the room, but I can't do it, I'll run outside and I'll write it down real quick.
I think that was a big thing, like when I first started nursing, the fact that you have all these things to do, but no one is telling you to do them. There's no notification. It's just written.
Sunrise.
I guess. It's just written down in an order, in a sea of orders. If you don't do it, no one's going to come and be like, hey, make sure you do your labs, or hey, make sure you give your meds. It's just going to be late or never happen, and then you get in trouble. So it's a lot of responsibility. You have to make sure you're getting your stuff done. No one is going to tell you to do what you have to do. Autonomy?
Autonomy, yeah.
Who's going to tell you what to do? No one. You have to do it all yourself. I think that's what freaked me out, because I was scared I would miss something.
I did miss things.
Oh my God.
And then you get into trouble. No, but I mean, it's fine at first if you're not getting everything. I mean, all these things do come with time. Nothing I really am saying is trying to scare anyone.
No, Anthony will make you feel like you're not the only person that makes mistakes.
I'm sure some people at work would disagree with you.
Okay. All right, last question in the car.
Okay.
So, my question for you is, when it comes to ICU nursing and med-surg nursing in regards to the patient ratio, because I know there's a lot of talk that people that want to go into critical care nursing, their main reason is, 2 patients, it's like easier. How do you feel when comparing the two, where you have med-surg who they have like 6 to 8 patients, and then ICU with two patients? Do you feel one is more difficult than the other, or they're the same, or what? What's your take on it?
I think most importantly, if you're coming to ICU to have two patients, stay wherever you're at. I don't think that should be your mentality going into this.
He's rough around the edges.
However, and it's a big however, during COVID, there were times where we had like 4 or 5 patients, pulled to other floors, and I was dying. I couldn't even ponder how you took care of 4 basic patients. So I really have like the utmost respect for like med surg and ED and like all these floors where you guys have these crazy ratios. I don't think they should be a thing at all.
I know.
I think it's
felt
dangerous.
Like I was drowning.
Yeah.
I had like 3 patients, 3 or 4 patients. I felt like I was just drowning with weights on my ankles.
Yeah. So I don't know how you guys do it, but at the same time, 2 patients is cool and all until both your patients are critical and dying, and now you need to perform necessary interventions to save both these people at the same time. That doesn't happen often because typically if you have a very hard patient, they're going to pair you off with a less critical patient. But at the same time, you're still taking care of 2 ICUs no matter what. Things can go crazy really quick. That feeling when 2 people are dying, you got to save these people, along with your team, of course, but that's a crazy feeling to me. It's a crazy situation to be in. And that's something you experience really on the floors.
That's a good answer.
Thanks for the coffee, babe.
You're welcome. All right, next question is.
It's his.
You just graduated,
okay,
and you were lucky enough to get a job in an ICU, and you start in 2 weeks. What is your best advice for people that are just starting? They didn't start yet, but they know they'll be starting in 2 weeks. What should they do to prepare?
So I really think for those 2 weeks, all that hand-on stuff, you can only learn that on the job, and that stuff you just get better with time. As for those 2 weeks beforehand, I would really review all the ICU specific stuff that you touch on in school, but that you don't really, delve deep into. It also really depends on your unit. We're a medical, a surgical, and a neuro ICU, so it does matter which one you're kind of going into. For us, I would go over everything. I would know sepsis inside and out. I would know neuro inside and out. Know Cushing's triad. Know that the first sign of a neuro issue is your pupils. Learn your assessment inside and out, head to toe. Know what to look for. Know the signs and symptoms of all these things because you're going to be the first one to realize these things most of the time.
Yeah, and I also bought this book because when I first got the job, I had this ambition to be the best nurse ever. And I wanted to see what people suggested as a new grad and how to do well as a new grad. So there's this book on Amazon that I bought. It was made by a bunch of senior nurses with high credentials in an ICU, and they gathered a certain amount of questions that were prevalent to new grads and gave advice, and it goes into all different devices. Whether you're in a neuro ICU, it'll go over the EVD drains. If you're in a cardiac ICU, it goes over balloon pumps, impellas, and it goes over EKG rhythms, and it really explains why certain rhythms look the way that they do. It goes into bundle branch blocks, it goes into heart blocks, and why you have widening of the QRS complex, stuff like that, and it's really helpful. So I'll leave the link to that in the description. Definitely get your hands on that book. It's very good. Your first code blue, what do you do?
Cry. No.
No, how do you handle your very first code blue?
What do you feel? Tell me what you feel.
Don't be afraid to ask for help or scream for help.
No, scream for help. Scream for help right away. Guys, I need help, code blue. Scream.
Because you're not going to know what to do.
And you're not running the code alone. You need to get everyone there instantaneously. In that very second, scream for help, do a quick assessment. What could be causing this code? If you can't identify it right away, ABCs, airway, breathing, circulation, hop right on top of it. Start your compressions.
Make sure you check for a pulse. That's what you have to do.
I mean,
that's all
if you don't know that, don't go ICU.
And stop with the negativity. I just think a code is not something you could do on your own, so always ask for help. Something that book taught me, because it talks about your first code and what you should do. Don't sit there and do nothing, but when someone is crashing and coding, the nerves get the best of you and you're like, oh, what the heck do I do? And you kind of freeze up. Just take a breath and think. What do I have to do? Gather yourself. You have time to gather yourself. So don't freeze, forget everything you ever learned. So you have that time. Try to be calm and collected. After you go through a few codes, you'll be calm. And you'll be able to manage yourself and hopefully help other new nurses.
With their code.
Yeah. Here we are in the last question.
Am I supposed to do that too?
No. I'm just trying to be enthusiastic. The last question of the day.
All right, let's hear it. What do you got for me?
Do you like your job?
People ask me this all the time. I honestly love my job. I can't imagine doing anything else, especially at this point in my life.
Well, you are going to be doing something else.
I mean, of course, but like, you know, that's like 3-4 years from now, you know. For right now, yeah, I absolutely love my job. Being an ICU nurse is really, it's provided me with some of the most profound experiences in my entire life. Some of the highest, some of the lowest, but I think those are important as well, especially with the recent COVID pandemic. It really showed everyone's true colors, and it really put a lot into perspective. I can't imagine doing anything else, and I can't say that enough. There's this quote actually by Gandhi. It says that everything that you do will be insignificant, but it's very important that you do it, because nobody else will. I can attribute that, you know, and relate to that on such a level, being an ICU nurse, because sometimes you're going to feel like what you're doing is meaningless. You're fighting like an uphill battle. But at the same time, those 1 or 2 cases where like really help somebody, you know they walked out of the hospital on their own 2 feet.
Which happened to you like last week, right?
Yeah, that's a crazy feeling. On the grand scale, it might not be too significant. On that small micro scale, you directly impacted someone and you got them out of there and you played a crucial role in their recovery, and I think that's the most incredible feeling in the entire world.
And that's the end of the 101 questions featuring Anthony Ragusa.
More like 6, but...
Alright guys, wrapping it up here. Anthony will be coming back with his nurse practitioner journeys onto this channel. So we'll be hearing from him soon. And you'll be hearing from me soon. Enjoy your week, everybody. Happy 4th of July. He's ruining my video. Bye guys. Oh God.